Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. I am Olakunle Kasumu. For some weeks, we announced our Meet the Authors Forum for 2018. Well, it finally took place at Waves Lounge, Lekki Leisure Lake, which played the roles of host and sponsor. Our three announced guest authors were present and they had a good time with the 60 invited guests who seemed to enjoy themselves. Let's get started with introductions of the authors and the stories behind the books in focus. Enjoy this. On my left here is Mr. Dele Ogun. He's a United Kingdom-based lawyer, presenter, international speaker, and commentator on current affairs. He's a graduate of the London Metropolitan University and the London School of Economics. He's the author of The Law, The Lawyers, and the Lawless, which is an autobiography. Ostrich Nation, which is a small, short satirical work. Identity and Development, which is a philosophical discourse on the link between nationhood and development in the context of political union. And also one of the three books in focus today, titled A Fatherless People. Welcome, Mr. Ogun. Thanks, sir. Also here with us is Dr. Akintunde Akinkumi. Dr. Akinkumi was trained in psychiatry and forensic psychiatry in London. He gained a master's degree in law from Cardiff University and is a fellow of both the Royal College of Psychiatrists and the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. He has been a serving officer in the British Army for more than 25 years. He published his first novel, Best Served Cold, in 2015, and published his second book, Hubris, which we are focusing on today, in 2018. He's currently writing a sequel to Best Served Cold and is researching a book on the history of the Nigerian Civil War. Mr. Asokpo Shashore is a senior advocate of Nigeria, a former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State. He has published a number of books, which include A Platter of Gold, which is one of the three books in focus today, Possessed, which is a history of law and justice in the Crown Colony of Lagos, and The King and the Colony, which is a concise version of Possessed, created specifically for tourists and young readers. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Asokpo Shashore. Okay, so Mr. Ogun, we are going to invite you right now to give us the story behind the book and also read an excerpt from your book.
Okay. We have biological fathers, and we know what biological fathers and mothers do for us in terms of the sacrifices that they make for our futures, always looking ahead of us, clearing away obstacles, creating platforms for development such that we can be the best that we possibly can be. That is what biological fathers and biological mothers do. We have spiritual fathers. And spiritual fathers, we look to them, and spiritual mothers, we look to them, again, for inspiration, for support, for help, similarly directed to making the most of what we have within each and every one of us. But then when I challenge those who object to the title, who is, and who would you say is our political father, who has behaved similarly in terms of what we expect from our biological parents? Those who make the sacrifices in our interests, who will go without so that we could have. Those who will be thinking ahead of us, thinking in our interests, watching out for where we might fall and where we could succeed. That is the background to the title, A Fatherless People. But it has more significance than that. Because what the book identifies is that there are 371 ethnic groups in this country. In fact, I've been challenged since because some people have looked through the 371 list and said, no, my ethnic group is not there. So even the 371 is not comprehensive and it is not conclusive. It is simply a work in progress. At least we've moved on from 250 to a definite figure of 371. Each of those 371 ethnic groups had political fathers prior to the construction of Nigeria by the British colonial authorities. The process of construction was the so-called treaties of protection that the Royal Niger Company got, I wouldn't use the word persuaded, got the leaders to sign. Those who would not sign were killed, deposed, or deported. Hence, the 371 were rendered fatherless, because the ones who agreed to sign typically were agreeing to sign in their own interest. They were being paid a stipend, they were being paid an annuity to sustain them, but in the process, giving away our futures. So that's the background to the title, A Fatherless People.